Today, we're diving into Mike Mentzer's 4-day split that changed the game. A workout that packs a punch and makes every second count. Let's get started and crush it Mentzer style. First, let's listen to Mike's explanation on how this 4-day split works.
You will start by training once every 4 days on a 4-workout protocol. So, if you start on a Monday, that means you wouldn't train again till Friday. After Friday, you wouldn't train again till Tuesday, then Saturday, and so forth, once every 4 days. And if a scheduling problem arises, so that you can't make it into the gym on day 4, take off 1 more day and train on day 5. Also, once you've been with the program for 3 weeks or so, start inserting an additional rest day or 2, even at random. If you do, you should never hit a sticking point, and here's why. As you grow stronger week to week, as you will with this program, that is, as you lift progressively heavier weights, the stresses on the body grow progressively greater too, until finally, unless you do certain things like add extra rest days, the stresses will reach a critical point, they'll constitute overtraining, and the first symptom will be a slowdown in progress. And if you continue with exactly the same volume and frequency protocol, there will ultimately be a complete cessation of progress. Continue inserting the additional rest days with greater and greater regularity until you are only training once every 5 days, then start inserting an extra rest day at random, a 6th day. Continue inserting the extra rest day or days with greater regularity until you're eventually training once every 6 to 7 days. Once the fundamentals of intensity, volume, and frequency are grasped, this issue becomes the most crucial one of bodybuilding science. That, as the weights grow progressively greater, the stresses also grow progressively greater, and they must be compensated for. If after a number of months, utilizing the baseline program while training once every 6 to 7 days ceases to yield meaningful results, switch to the consolidation program.
Now, let's dive into the full training routine.
Some may want to have the workout program with the additional points in their training journal to take to the gym, rather than the accompanying booklet. If so, write down the words day 1 close to the upper left-hand corner of your paper, and then write the word chest. Next to it, the number 1. Exercise number 1 for the pecs will be pec deck for 6 to 10 reps to failure. Now, from here on, you won't have to write the words to failure, as that is a given, and 6 to 10 reps is merely a suggested guideline. There is nothing magic about the number 10. If you reach 10, but you see you might go to 13 reps to failure, don't stop at 10, go to 13. And at the other end, if you see by rep 3, you won't reach even 6 reps, but only 4 or 5, don't stop and reload. Get 4 or 5, the next time you'll likely get 6 to 10. And if you don't have access to a pec deck, then flat bench dumbbell flies or cable crosses may be substituted. Directly underneath exercise 1, write out the word superset, and directly underneath that, the number 2. Exercise number 2 for the pecs will be the incline press, preferably on a machine such as the Smith, Hammer, Icarian, or Nautilus. If you don't have any machine for the incline press, you may perform either regular free weight barbell incline presses or incline dumbbell presses. Exercise number 2 should be performed for 1 to 3 reps, not 6 to 10, 1 to 3 reps. And make a parenthetic note next to the incline press. Use a fairly close hand grip. Your hands should be slightly closer than shoulder width. What should be wide are not your hands, but your elbows. Flare your elbows way back away from your torso toward your ears, and you'll feel all the stress go into the pecs. Contrary to popular opinion, a wide grip is not the best way to develop pecs. And for beginners, a superset means 2 sets, 1 set of each of 2 different exercises, where the performance of one is followed immediately by the other, as with pec deck supersetted, or followed immediately by incline press. All right, now write down the word back, still under day 1, write down the word back, and then the number 1 itself. Exercise number 1 for the back will be close grip, palms up, pull downs, 6 to 10 repetitions. Close grip, palms up, pull downs. Directly underneath that, write down the number 2. which will be regular style, not stiff-legged, but regular deadlifts. There is no superset here, by the way. There will be no superset unless I specify. And where there is no superset, you may rest as long as necessary, but no longer. Don't overcomplicate this issue. Use your common sense. Let your breathing slow down. And as soon as you feel ready to resume training, do so. Do not allow the workout to degenerate into a race against the clock. And don't malinger either. The regular style deadlift is a very productive exercise. The most productive exercise of all, in fact, because it stimulates so much muscle mass, everything on the backside of the body, from the Achilles tendon to the nape of the neck. However, there is a bit of a risk factor here, not seen with most other exercises, so listen carefully. If you have one available and you are strong enough, use an Olympic bar with a 45-pound plate on each end of the bar, so you don't have to bend over quite so far. Always start with the bar rolled back flush against your shins. Grasp the bar with a slightly wider than shoulder width grip, and use an interlocking hand grip, where one hand is overhand, the other hand is underhand. Squat down in such a fashion that your hips are at least slightly lower than your shoulders. And most important of all, keep your back perfectly flat and your head up. Keep your back perfectly flat and your head up. You might even pick out a point on the wall, that crevice where the wall meets the ceiling, and keep your attention trained on that unwaveringly throughout. Then stand up in a deadlift fashion with considerable rotation around the hips until you're standing perfectly straight, no need to arch backwards. Then put the bar back down, reset, and do another. Perform 5 to 8 reps as close to failure as you're willing to go. If you have problems with your lower back, shrugs may be substituted, and do 6 to 10 reps to failure. That's all on day 1. Just 4 total sets.
And that's a wrap on day 1. Let's dive into day 2 and 3.
Then 96 hours or 4 days later is day 2. Write down the words day 2. On day 2, you will train legs. The first exercise is leg extensions, supersetted with exercise number 2, leg press. Now, just to the right of the words leg extension and leg press, using a common bracket or a parenthesis, indicate that each is to be performed for 8 to 15 reps. If you don't have a leg press, substitute squats, preferably in a Smith machine. You're not going to be doing leg curls for a while. Just because an exercise is done traditionally for a certain muscle doesn't mean, of course, that you are morally or legally bound to do it all year round. One of the first lessons I learned as a trainer years ago is that the leg biceps and the biceps of the upper arm overtrain extremely easily. Besides, the hamstrings will receive sufficient stimulation for now from the deadlift and the leg press and the squat. I would like to make a very important point here. This program is designed for the exclusive purpose of marshaling all of your body's energy and resources onto the side of maximum growth in your major muscle groups. Any exercise you might add beyond what is listed here will merely subtract from maximum growth in the major muscle groups. Very often, when I give this program to a phone client, he will say at the end, "Well, Mr. Mentzer, I see you don't have me doing leg curls for the hamstrings, in fact. No seated calf raise for the inner calf. No bent over dumbbell concentration curls for the lower outer third of the biceps. And we're not doing this for that and that for this and on ad infinitum." And I respond, "Sir, but that is precisely how you were training before, and that is why you made no progress and were prompted to call me for counseling. You so burned yourself out with all those exercises, you dug so deep of a hole, your body never had the opportunity to recover from the merely exhaustive effects of the exercise, let alone grow. Why not build a 20-inch arm first, then worry about the details?" Remember, the issue of volume in anaerobic exercise is a negative factor, as I stated earlier, and that your purpose is not to see how many sets you can do or how long you can endure. Your purpose is to do the precise amount of exercise required to stimulate growth, then get out of the gym, go home, rest, and grow. After the leg extension, leg press superset, take a rest. Go drink some water, walk around the gym for a minute or two. Then finish up quite simply with a set of standing calf raises, 12 to 20 reps. And that is it for day 2. 96 hours, or 4 days after legs, is day 3. On day 3, you'll train delts and arms. Write down the word delts. For delts, you start out with dumbbell laterals. Some people call them side raises, 6 to 10 reps. After a brief rest, but no superset here, proceed to exercise number 2 for delts. Either bend over dumbbell laterals, or if one is available, sit in a pec deck backwards and work your rear delts 6 to 10 reps here too. After delts, you'll work your arms. You might write down the word arms. Exercise number 1 for arms is barbell curls, 6 to 10. 6 to 10 reps with barbell curls. And that is a straight bar, not an easy curl bar. Easy curls do not work the biceps. They work the brachialis on the outer part of the arm. Do straight bar barbell curls. Exercise number 2 for the arms is tricep press downs with either a straight bar or a V bar, but do not use a rope. Do not use a rope. Either a straight bar or a V bar. 6 to 10 reps for the tricep press down. And if a press down machine is not available, perform 1 set of lying French presses for 6 to 10 reps. Immediately after the press downs, in superset fashion, proceed to dips between parallel bars for 3 to 5 reps to failure. 3 to 5. If you can do more than 5 reps with your body weight, then add weight. And if you can't do any positive or full range dips, then place a chair or bench between the dip bars, stand up into the straight arm, locked elbow position, and lower yourself in negative fashion, taking several seconds to reach the bottom. Then stand up on the chair into the straight arm position and do it again. When you can perform up to 10 negative dips, with each rep taking several seconds to complete, you should be able to do regular full range dips.
And that's a wrap on day 2 and 3. Day 4 is legs again. Let's dive into it.
96 hours later is day 4. Legs. Yes, legs again. This time you will start with leg extensions and follow immediately in superset fashion with Smith machine or free weight squats, but don't do hack squats unless absolutely forced to do so. Hack squats are not very productive, and they stress the knees inordinately. You will perform the leg extensions differently this time, using approximately 30 pounds more than the last time when you perform the leg extension with the leg press. You will do but 1 positive rep, lifting the lower legs until they are in the straight leg lock knee position. You will hold that position statically. This is called a static hold rep. The weight will be sufficiently heavy so that you're limited to holding the straight leg lock knee position for approximately 10 to 25 seconds. There will come a point during that period, of course, when you won't be able to hold it anymore, and you'll say to yourself, if I don't start to lower this thing in the next moment or two, it's going to go crashing down. Do not let that happen. When you recognize it's necessary, lower the leg slowly in controlled negative fashion, not hyper slow or imperceptibly slow, but under strict control all the way down to the bottom. And make sure that you keep your buttocks planted firmly in the seat, as there is a tendency to want to come up off the seat when your thighs are burning, and torque it down. Do not torque it down. Lower with the strength of the thigh muscles alone. Then proceed immediately to the squat and perform 8 to 15 reps to failure. Take a rest for a couple minutes, go get some water, and finish once again with a set of standing calf raises, 12 to 20. And then 4 days later, you start over with day 1 and repeat the 4-workout protocol as already described.
And last but not least, Mike covers some of the questions a listener might have about this routine.
Whenever I have a superset listed, as with pec deck and incline press, or leg extension leg press, or leg extension squat, start the warm-up on the second exercise. For instance, when performing the leg extension squat superset, if you start with the leg extensions without having first warmed up the glutes, spinal erectors, and so forth, by doing a couple of sets of squats first off, as you finish the leg extension and you're heading to the squat, you'll say to yourself, but my goodness, I forgot to warm up for the squat. Same thing with the incline press and the leg press. By warming up on the second exercise first, you cover all your bases in terms of a warm-up. And you'll also have the weight set on that exercise so that you may perform a true superset, where one exercise is followed immediately by another with no rest in between. And please, don't change the sequence of exercises I've listed. Everything I've given you here was for a good reason, which is not to say that you can't periodically change exercises, although I would be hesitant, as the exercises listed are all the best ones for the muscles involved. And don't make the mistake of gauging or evaluating the success of any one of these workouts by the standard of feeling whether or not you get sore or achieve a pump. I see certain people who have been training at Gold's Gym in Venice, California for hours every day for years. If achieving a pump was a surefire indication that growth was stimulated, these people would have 28-inch arms by now, as they get pumped every time they work out. The pump, of course, is only temporary and does not indicate that growth was stimulated. And if getting sore was necessary, I never would have won a physique title, as I almost literally never got sore, usually only after a layoff. You can only evaluate the success of any one of these workouts by whether or not you're stronger the next time you perform that workout. So, keep a training journal as described in the value-added booklet. I would suggest that if you have been training recently without a layoff prior to the time you intend to start this program, take a break entirely from training for 2 to 3 weeks. Having been overtrained, you've made a deep, too deep, an inroad into your body's recovery ability. It is important that this inroad be overcome so that when you start with a properly conducted high-intensity routine, your body will have recovered all the biochemical resources necessary for optimal growth production.
As we conclude this journey through Mike Mentzer's 4-day training split, remember that his philosophy was more than a routine. It was a beacon for those who seek to surpass the ordinary. Take these tips and make your workouts count. Keep pushing, stay strong, and build your own legacy.